Hey, it's Alex Radical from Board Game Co. and it's time for another Kickstarter roundup. And this is going to be, not that long. We're going to have a few updates, a few Kickstarters that we're going to go through, and then a few upcoming Kickstarters for next week. And starting off the bat, a little bit of an update to Darwin's Journey, which we covered last week in the Monday's roundup, and just two small updates. First of all, that they added a bit of a Great Chips mini expansion, and there was a little bit of drama around this. They initially added it as an optional buy that you can spend a further £5 or something for, maybe it's about €5, I don't remember. And then because people pushed back up the whole nature of adding gameplay as an add-in, especially after there's already a deluxe pledge, so to speak, and they adapted. They said, you know what, you're right, we hear you, we're adjusting it, and they gave that Great Chips mini expansion for free, which again, this goes back to how Kickstarter very often is just a pre-order system, but at the same time, it often does allow for the potential for people to add their voice to be part of the conversations and for companies to pick and choose their battles when they want to or need to make certain choices because of financial viability. Alternatively, when they can adjust and sit there and say, you know what, it's a mutually beneficial relationship, that of a Kickstarter company and that of the backers who are backing their games. And in this case, I think they made the right choice. I'm happy for them. I'm happy for Thundergriff that they balanced that and made it work, so good on them for that. Additionally, they have, a bit of an update for the solo mode rules in Tabletop Simulator in case you want to play the game on Tabletop Simulator. Past that, nothing really special. $750,000, I mean, not nothing special, but nothing that's really news. The Kickstarter, Darwin's Journey, is doing well as expected, with $754,000 raised, 9,445 backers, and 10 days left to go. So that's going to be the update to Darwin's Journey. I covered it more in last week's update as far as good back, not good back. Overall, I think it's a pretty solid back with a game that seems to have a lot of hype and buzz around it. Not a knock it out of the park back, but a decently solid back, all things considered, considering Thundergriff's past games like Owari, Tang Garden, etc. Moving on from there, we're going to have Call of Madness, which was canceled. I'm not really going to go into this one. This one is going to be launching again next week, but just in case you have this on your radar, I'm just announcing that it was canceled and will be coming back next week with a new relaunch. I think it's launching tomorrow, or perhaps today, or whatever it is. From there, we're going to have Pingyao First Chinese Banks. This is one that is not currently funding, although I imagine it will, with 24 days to go and $18,000 out of $20,000 raised. I'm certain this will fund, or will cross that line. As far as this is an interesting one. This is going to be a dice drafting game or dice placement game around the nature of the Chinese banking system and the development of banking as a system. What's called, the Chinese Pingyao First Chinese Banks. Now, this is going to be a game that it's been out since 2017. They are bringing the English version to the market, so it's not like a new game. It's just a new, more accessible English version of the game. The game is pretty decently reviewed, and the testimonials in this game are pretty solid. If you pay attention to the people who are playing the game, giving testimonials, we have Jeremy Salinas, who Pingyao is probably not a Eurogame on your radar, but if you like Trois or even Lorenzo El Magnifico, then it should be. This is truly enjoyable, blah, blah, blah. Definitely going into my collection. That, by the way, definitely going to my collection is always something that I'm a fan of. Tell me that you like a game enough, and I just am my reviews for this reason, but tell me whether you like the game enough that you're keeping it. And you can say I like a game and I'm not keeping it, it's still a good game, but it's like, if you're gonna sit there and say how good a game is, then ideally you own it, or you're saying it's a solid game, and I don't need to own it. But I like that clarification for myself. Past that, if you continue going on, I mean, there's review after review, testimonial after testimonial, some better than others for what it's worth, not all of them a knock out of the park, but overall they had a lot of content creators. If we scroll down to the content creator section of the campaign, they had a lot of different reviews, from Rado to Neuranthea Plays It Right. We have One Stop Co-op Shop, Mike Kelly, the William Brown, the Hungry Gamer, Purple Moose Plays, a lot of testimonials around the thing. I'm not reading out every name, just a lot of reviews and testimonials about the game, which is, and it's not doing amazingly well. It's going to struggle past that finish line. And I think that's going to be a combination of two different things, because the game, while it does seem to be well rated, it falls into, I think games on Kickstarter are going to have three different things that people always take into account. There's going to be the price, there's going to be the deluxe look and feel of the game, the components, the miniatures, the whatever, and then whether you actually think it's a good game. Those are three different things you have to juggle here. Now, with Pingyao, I think that the problem is that right now it's only checking the box of a game that people are saying is pretty good, which arguably is the most important one, but it's not the one that's going to convince people to pull out their dollars and back it. Right now, for this game, we have the lowest pledge level is $55 for the base game. That's $55. You can get, once you factor in shipping, you can get two games. You can get Trois and Coimbra for that amount of money from your local online game store. So that's a lot of money. and then the game looks okay at best. The components does not look deluxeified. It does not look like a game that you're like, oh my gosh, I'm happy to shell out double or triple the amount of money to get the game. So it's failing on price and it's failing on components in my opinion, and it's checking the box on this is probably a solid game, but you can potentially get a lot of other solid games for a lot less money. And then from there, it's going to further push people away by having a $90 pledge and a $120 pledge, which generally the more you give people the opportunity to upgrade, the more you will convince some people to go up, while also pushing people who are on the fence out the door. If I was on the fence at 55, now you've additionally given me all these reasons of, at 90 or 120, I'm not even getting the full game at 55. I'm not even getting the full experience, and I don't know if I want to pay 90 or 120. So I think those are the factors that are going to contribute to Pingyao being pushed out, despite being, or not pushed out, of it kind of barely funding and seeing how well it does, despite it being a game that seems to be getting a decent amount of praise. Ultimately, I hope it funds. I hope it's a good game for everyone who backs it, but I think that's just the factors at play here, why a decently well-rated, well-hyped game, not hyped, but well-rated or well considered game is not funding as much as we'd like. If you do want to try it, it is available on Tabletop Simulator, so go ahead and check that out. As far as shipping, I think shipping was coming out at $15 for US or $19 for the expansions, and then from there up the chart all the way up to $39 for whatever it is. And that's going to be Pingyao. From there we have Command presents the Animation Collection. This is going to be ending in 2 days basically, 2 to 3 days by the time you see this. And so far basically I did a full video on the Animation Collection already, and this is going to be not a ton of new information, but basically just more of the stretch goals. Daily stretch goals have been revealed, plus some optional buys. So as far as daily stretch goals, let's just go ahead and run through what we have so far. So we have the day 1, which we already covered. Then we have the Witch, and these are going to be the columns over here are going to be Scooby-Doo, Teen Titans, and Looney Tunes. We have Pep Le Pew, we have Trigon, we have the Ghost Diver, Beast Boy Cheetah, Speedy Gonzales, Scrappy-Doo, Jinx, Penelope. We have Spooky Space Kook, Mammoth, and Foghorn Leghorn. I despise Foghorn Leghorn. That character always bugged me. Can't stand that kind of personality. And then we still have 3 days left to see what's going on. We do have the first optional buys revealed, which, as I mentioned when I talked about the Kickstarter, my full video, the Should You Back It, I talked about how some characters were particularly missing, such as Tweety, Roadrunner, or whatnot, and sure enough, they showed up over here, so that was, I guess, validated to some degree. Now, with 2 days left and no other optional buys, my guess is that we see an optional buy today, like Monday. We may see the optional buy for Scooby-Doo if there is one, or I'd wager there's no more optional buys. I doubt they would release an optional buy in the last day of the campaign. That's pushing it a bit too close, so we'll see. There may or may not be another one. But ultimately, we have $25 optional buy for 4 figures from Looney Tunes, and a $15 optional buy for 2 figures from Teen Titans. And that's going to be the update on Scooby-Doo so far, on the whole animation collection. Moving on, we have Illumination and the Road to Canterbury by Alf Siegert. This is going to be Eagle Griffin's newest Kickstarter, and this is one that introduces a new concept that I like the concept. I like the concept from a marketing standpoint. I appreciate what they're trying to do here. I don't think it's working out as well as it could, just given the fact that this game is not funding to the level it would need to for the concept to be successful, in my opinion. And that's basically going to be that Illumination, we have 15,000, so it's just funded, 11 days to go. It's going to continue growing up. Maybe it'll cross 20,000, maybe 25. Even then, I think it's kind of pushing it. It's going to be a hard sell to see how far it goes. Illumination, I believe, is a new game, and Road to Canterbury is going to be a reprint of an existing game. And these are both. I mean, I don't know much about Illumination. Road to Canterbury is going to be a game where you're trying to sell pardons to people you encounter on the road. Decently rated game on Board Game Geek. It's a reprint, so you can check out more information. You can check out previous reviews or whatnot. Both of these are coming in at $29 for the game with an MSRP of $40. Plus paying shipping. So it's going to fall into the category of not being a particularly good back, not being a particularly bad back. I would lean on the side of it not being a great back. You're probably not going to see your money on this, but given the nature of shipping and shipping and the loss you get when you buy something online versus when you're buying it on a marketplace or selling it or whatnot, I think it might be the cheapest opportunity for you to get it, while also being a game you're unlikely to get your money back if you need to sell it. It's just that's at $29 versus an MSRP of $40. It's basically what you would pay for it for online. Now, the thing that they're doing that's interesting, the thing that they're doing that I find very a good idea, is they're doing these stretch goal credits, so to speak. Instead of stretching out the game with stretch goals, they're giving you credits that you can unlock as the game continuously funds in order to buy other games in the Pledge Manager. So as we hit 15K, it's funded. 20K, you're going to get $2 in stretch goal credits. 25K, you're going to get $4 in stretch goal credits. And then what you can do with that money is you can use it towards other games that will be available as add-ons. So, for example, you want that Fantastique expansion for $32, not expansion, the Fantastique game for $32, and this game hits 25K, well, you can use $4 towards that game, so you can get a discount on other games. Now, the problem with the concept is if the game only hits 15, or if the game only hits 20 or 25k, then it is unlikely that you're converting a lot of people to buy those add-ons. Instead, what you're probably doing is you're probably just giving a discount to people who otherwise were going to buy them anyway. A $2 or $4 credit on a $30 game is not going to be a lot to push people over. Really, the higher it goes, when you hit $6, when you hit $8, you start giving people a real conversation in their mind. You know what, Fantastic, at $32, I didn't really care, but at 24, maybe I'm interested. So it's an interesting concept, and I like the concept in the space. I would love to see these things experimented with more, potentially adding a win-win for the consumer, getting a discount, and then also for the publisher, incentivize them to purchase something else. But I think it just needs to be a little more highly funded for it to work in its execution. And that's basically going to be these two games. I don't think they're particularly good back. I don't think they're the worst. You're talking about a few dollars. You're talking about losing the shipping price. I think shipping was around $8, if I'm not mistaken. That's going to be U.S. shipping. U.S. shipping came in at roughly is $9 for one game, or $12 to $15 for 2 to 3 copies. And that's basically going to be what you're losing. You're going to need those stretch goal credits to balance it out, or otherwise just wait to get it in retail. So it's you're one that you're going to probably lose a few bucks on, but not a ton on. From there, we're going to go to Tinner's Trail. Tinner's Trail is going to be a game by Martin Wallace, and this is being put out by, I believe, Alley Cat Games. Let me see if I can find the name of the game. Alley Cat Games. And Tinner's Trail is going to be, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sure I'm missing one. This is going to be the third Martin Wallace game reprinted on Kickstarter. We had the Brass series, obviously. We had Nanty Narking, which is a reprint of Discworld. And then we have Tinner's Trail, which is a reprint of, Tinner's Trail. I'm sure there's one I'm missing. I did not do a full deep dive. I'm just going by my own personal knowledge right now. And so as far as that, and what's interesting, by the way, is each one of these three is by a different company, which I find interesting in and of itself. But what I'm going to be doing for this one is I have this... Whenever I have a game from a company that already put out games, there's always a choice of, do you look at the company's past history or do you look at the designer's past history? And in the case of Martin Wallace, I think looking at the Martin Wallace's past history with Kickstarters is almost a better indicator than looking at the company in of itself, or maybe a combination of the two, because obviously Roxley brings a different level of production to the table than what Alley Cat Games is doing. No disrespect to Alley Cat, just Roxley seriously deluxeified the heck out of Brass. And so looking at Nanty Narking, which is going to be the less successful of Martin Wallace's Kickstarters were reprinted. Brass Birmingham obviously held its value to no end, so that one's going to be one that completely held its value in terms of backing on a Kickstarter and being able to resell it down the road. Nanty Narking, on the other hand, is one that did not hold its value, despite Discworld being a great game, despite Discworld being a well sought after out-of-print game, and Nanty Narking being well rated as well. Ultimately, at the end of the day, the Kickstarter for Nanty Narking is one that most people are selling, losing $10-15 on what they paid for it. Once you factor in shipping, once you factor in everything, people are selling it at a loss for the most part. If you go through the sold listings on Board Game Geek Marketplace, you will find the occasional exception where someone actually made money on their pledge, but for the most part, people seem to be losing money on selling their Nanty Narking pledge to the tune of $15-20 or whatnot. So it didn't hold its value overall, despite being a well sought after game. Now, Tinner's Trail is rated worse than Discworld, I believe, or at least it's rated worse than Nanty Narking. This is going to be an update of Tinner's Trail, one of Martin Wallace's generally well-received games, but not one of his better, most loved games. And they're going to be updating Tinner's Trail to, I've played Tinner's Trail, I like Tinner's Trail, I got rid of Tinner's Trail, but this has me actually considering getting it back, because they're fixing a lot of small things about Tinner's Trail. Tinner's Trail to me was a game that I didn't keep it in my collection because I felt that Martin Wallace's other games were better Martin Wallace games for my collection. And Tinner's Trail is updating a few things. They're adjusting the player count, so now instead of being 3 to 4 players, it's between 1 to 5 players. They're adding a solo mode, which these days already adds more accessibility, which makes the game more appealing. They're adding 2 new expansions depending on the pledge level you buy or optional buys. The Arsenic expansion and the Immigration expansion, which will both be small little modules that will adjust the game. They're not full big box expansions, they're more modules. They have reduced randomness with tiles instead of rolling the dice to set up the board, which adds variability without the randomness of how the initial game was set up. They have improved auctions with dual-use cards, improved artwork and graphic design, overall improving the artwork, which was never bad, but they have slightly tweaked the game or spruced it up a bit. We have improved component quality, and the Lord Wallace solo mode is going to go down to that 1 to 5 player count. So they're adjusting the game in overall good ways, giving it some new modules, giving it some more stuff, enough that I am interested in trying it out, considering I already liked the game before, and I can't imagine these things would make it worse. Additionally, for the stretch goals, they already have one of the stretch goals is going to be, and the stretch goals, by the way, if you want to find them, are going to be in the updates, but one of the stretch goals already already is going to be, let's see if we can pull this up over here, so we have so far. One of the stretch goals is going to be that Kickstarter promo pack, which is going to give you some more cards, some new setup tiles. Then we have some other things that do not necessarily say Kickstarter exclusive. The promo pack has that Kickstarter exclusive tag, pay attention to that, versus the rest of these do not currently have Kickstarter exclusive listed on them, and we'll see what's coming more. We have coming soon, so there's still more time to see what's going on. As far as the pledge levels, we're going to have $33 for 33 pounds or $45 for the retail edition with stretch goals. So it is the retail edition, but it does come with all the stretch goals, including Kickstarter exclusive content. And then we're going to have for 43 pounds, we're going to have the minor tier, the expanded edition, which is going to give us those Kickstarter exclusive, those two optional buys or whatever it is, the two Kickstarter exclusive expansions for an additional 10 pounds. And then that Kickstarter exclusive promo pack will be available for sale on their website or conventions or whatnot. Overall, with this game, I would say you're probably looking at something similar to Nantinarchy, meaning this might be your best bet to get the game at the price you're getting it at. I don't think it'll really hold its value a ton. I mean, shipping wasn't the cheapest. Shipping came in at, I believe, £4 for domestic, for England, I believe, for the UK. So if I find the shipping chart, shipping's coming in at UK for £4, and US is going to be $8 to $12. So once you factor that into the pledge as well, I don't think it's a terrible buy, but nor do I think it's a particularly good buy. It's one that's going to fall into that category as well, that you may be able to pick this up cheaper down the road, although I doubt you'll be able to pick it up that much cheaper. And as far as if you don't like it, can you sell it, can you get rid of it, I think you'll probably end up losing at least the shipping, possibly more. In general, that first month, the first few weeks, you'll almost always be able to find someone who wants to get their hands in the game and is willing to pay exactly what you paid, if not a few bucks more, to get your hands in it. But outside that first month, outside 2, 3, 4 months down the road, I think this is likely to fall into Nantinarchy territory of one that will decently hold its value. It's an established game that is already well liked, and they're only tweaking it to make it better. But you'll probably still lose a little something. It's just the demand, it does not seem to overall be there. Brask was a obvious exception, but Brask brought production quality to the table that was above and beyond. And it's going to be Tinner's Trail and Nantinarchy. Well, not Nantinarchy, Tinner's Trail. From there we have Fallen Lands, 2nd Edition, Big Box, and Descendants Expansion. This is going to be another reprint. This is going to be a game that is currently rated an 8.3 on Board Game Geek, which is very high. Also factor in that's out of like 300 ratings, so a handful of 10s can more heavily bias a game when it's, only has 300 ratings as opposed to 30,000 ratings. So it is well rated, seemingly, but also take it with a grain of salt, just given the lower volume of ratings that there are. This is going to be the 2nd Edition expansion that's going to be 2nd Edition board game plus the Descendants expansion, which is going to be bringing a big box to the table, combining stuff. In the previous Kickstarter, you had an option of the Fallen Land core set for $63 or Fallen Land core set plus expansion for $81. And they're going to be combining all of that into the big box for a singular pledge level of $89 for the Fallen Land 2nd Edition core set, which will include the original base game and both expansions in that core set. Additionally, for $118, or for $39 if you just want the Descendants expansion, you can get just the Descendants expansion for Fallen Lands. So overall, they're giving you new stuff, or alternatively big box stuff. They also do have an upgrade kit that's going to give you some of the differences. Over here, they have a nice little differences of, where was the differences chart? It was somewhere here. They had a differences chart of the differences between the two games. I think it was not, was it this one? Highlights, nope, that's the two things over here. The differences chart was over here. Here we go. 2nd Edition versus 1st Edition was going to give you the differences of the boxes, the cards, the map, the organizer, the rule book. And if you scroll further down to the optional buy section, they had, basically, you could get some of those things as optional buys. You could get an upgrade pack as an optional buy. If we scroll down, we have over here, for $24.99, you can get the Fallen Land upgrade kit, which will not give you the new box, but will give you most of the other stuff, and that's going to give you, in case you have that 1st Edition and want to upgrade. You can get the Stitch Neoprene mat for $60, the sleever box, which basically is a box for sleeves, and a bunch of skill dice for the game, as the Journey to Darkness expansion and the Outsiders Trading Post expansion, if you have the core set from the first game and want to get them. Both of these two expansions are going to be included in the big box core set here. Overall, and then shipping, by the way, shipping is going to come in at $29 on the low end for the all-in, $18 if you just want the Descendants expansion, so shipping is not cheap, no matter where you are, US or not US. Overall, Fallen Land is going to be a game that is well-reviewed, well-liked. It's a game that I do love, by the way. They have a testimonial, they have a little disclaimer here. Nothing about this game is related to current events, because it takes place in a post-apocalyptic nuclear and biological apocalypse, so it's just not great nowadays, so I like that little disclaimer. But Fallen Land is going to be a game that, overall, if you look at the Kickstarter, if you look at the Board Game Geek Marketplace sales of the 1st edition of the game, similar to Tinner's Trail, similar to Nantinarchy, it's a game that overall holds its value, but people definitely have lost money on, to the tune of 10, 15, $20 for the game. So you're not going to, if you want to sell this game down the road, you're going to lose, not you're going to. If you want to sell this game down the road, based on past history, you are likely to be losing something, but not losing a ton, just losing, a little bit of something, $20 or whatever it is. As far as buying the game, because of the nature of shipping, and shipping because you lose shipping more on the sale because FedEx takes something. So as far as buying the game, this is not going to, it may or may not be your cheapest opportunity to get it. You'll most likely be able to pick up a copy on the secondhand marketplace down the road, especially considering the past sales of the game. So well-rated game, but one that has not really held its value to a large extent. You can expect to lose something or be able to pick this up now versus later. And then lastly, we're going to go with the big one, which is Epic 7 Arise. Epic 7 Arise, with 14 days to go, $260,000 raised, 2,400 backers. Epic 7 Arise is going to be the board game implementation of the app, of the Android, or I don't know if it's an iPhone app too, but it's definitely on Google Play. It's definitely an Android app, and it's going to be an anime-style 2D side-scroller kind of fighting game or whatnot. The video is actually pretty entertaining. I recommend watching the video. It doesn't teach you a ton about the gameplay. It will give you a bit of a feel for how the game plays out. 2.5 minutes, and it's very solidly well done. Although I will say, no one tell Quackle up about this game, because I mean, this game has you attacking these small woodland creatures and killing them, which is, he's not going to be happy if anyone tells him. But this is going to be by Farside Games. It's going to be their first created, which unfortunately, given everything we have here, is already a bit of a flag, because it doesn't mean, to be clear, flag does not mean it's a problem. It just means I don't have a degree of confidence in this game that I would like to have. What we have is we have a first-time creator. We have a game that is adapted from a video game, and we have gameplay that if you watch the how to plays, if you watch Man vs. Meeple, if you watch the previews, if you look at the rulebook even, it does look on the lighter side. Now, lighter side is not inherently a problem. This game is going to be reminiscent to a degree of Cthulhu Death May Die, which is one of my favorite games, in the sense that light gameplay that's simple and easy, attack bad guys, level up, rinse, repeat. It has scenarios that are going to be different. Each scenario is going to provide slight differences to the rules, similar to the scenarios or episodes in Cthulhu Death May Die. So on a surface level, it has the similarities to one of my favorite games of all time that is on the lighter side. But that's the potential similarities, versus the flip side is Cthulhu Death May Die was giving you an absolute ton of content in typical Command fashion. For that initial $9,500 you spent on the game, you got a ton of miniatures, a ton of content for the game, and it's coming from an established company with more of a track record. Like it or not, if you like Command games in general, you have more of an understanding of what will or won't work. Versus Farside Games, this is their first created Kickstarter game, and it's coming from an app, which means it's being hit on two different counts, two different strikes in terms of trying to match an IP of an existing game and a first-time creator. Neither of those things mean the game will be bad, but they are also not reasons to be confident in the game. And then that combined with the lighter gameplay and the testimonials as well. Testimonials are okay. If you look at testimonials, nothing here is particularly amazing. When you, for instance, on table, we have simple, fast, blah, blah, blah. It's definitely a must-have for anime fans. Whenever you, and it's something I do myself, I had no disrespect to on table of it, something I would do myself is, if I enjoyed a game but didn't love it, I would likely say something along the lines of, this is a solid game that is really a good fit for people who like this and this genre. I mean, I'd add that caveat because it might be a good game, but not being a great game, and you might need that additional push of someone who already likes cars, anime, whatever it is that you are selling. Man vs. Meeple's testimonial is not really much of a amazing testimonial. Every episode changes with the gameplay, becomes its own challenge and puzzle every time you sit down and play. And then Alvinstein, manga and abomination with dungeon crawler style board game, what's not to love? So again, they're okay testimonials. They're not bad by any means, but none of the passion that I love to see. Going back to Pingyao Chinese Banks, where Man vs. Meeple said, I'm adding this to my collection. That's a degree of confidence that I like to see in testimonials that I don't see here. Overall, what you're getting for those pledges, the pledge options are going to be $95 or $120 for the basic or deluxe versions of the game. And by the way, in terms of if you back either pledge level, you'll be getting this Ludwig miniature for free. That is not going to be true if you back at $1 and upgrade in the pledge manager. You will have to pay for the Ludwig miniature. So if you want to get the game and you want to get that Ludwig miniature for free, make sure to back an actual pledge level now. As far as those two pledge levels, what you're getting for that, for the deluxe pledge, you're getting all this. You're getting 8 highly detailed hero miniatures, 24 highly detailed enemy miniatures, and 8 hero character cards. We missed it here. So yeah, so 32 miniatures for that $95, plus stretch goals and whatnot, which is not the same value Command is giving you in one of their games, which is why I think that Cthulhu Death May Die versus Epic 7 Arise comparison is there, but also still very different products at the end of the day. We have 29 character standees or whatnot, we have map tiles, enemy cards, all of that for the game, and then the expansion game components is going to give you 3 more miniatures and 3 more highly detailed miniatures, plus 3 detailed enemy miniatures, plus map tiles, etc., on all of that. So overall, Epic 7 is going to be giving you this, fight the bad guys, level up, rinse, repeat across different scenarios kind of gameplay, which is appealing to me. ultimately for myself as well, I have the additional aspect of I'm not pulled in by anime in general. It's not like something I will not get. So for instance, Sanshushin 5 Sacrifices is a game that, despite being more anime based, I'm more intrigued by. Not sold on, but more intrigued by. So for me, it's going to be very contextual on the game, but it's certainly something that is a bit of a thing against it to my personal taste. And then overall, I see a lot of reasons to be pulled in by the game, but I also see reasons why this is not going to be a game that I'm confident that is going to hold its value, given all those factors I talked about. First-time creator, lighter gameplay, and video game adaptation. It may well hold its value, considering there might be people out there who love the video game who want to buy it after the fact. That might be falling to more of the Dark Souls character. Dark Souls was a board game that managed to hold its value despite being generally not well reviewed. So this may fall into that category. Ultimately, where Epic 7 arises for me, where Epic 7 arrives for me, not arises, is that I think it is one that I am not confident in, but I'm also not saying it will not hold its value. It depends on a lot of factors there. That's going to be a wrap for this week. For next week coming up, we have a whole bunch of things coming up. Next week is going to be packed full of a whole bunch of new Kickstarters. We have Carnegie, we have Kingdoms of the Deep, Castle of Mad King von Ludwig, the Deluxe Edition. We have Primal the Awakening. Primal the Awakening will have some of these also might, I don't know, but Primal the Awakening I believe will have an early bird, so make sure to jump on that on the 19th. We have Rune Lords the board game, Roman Roll and the expansion. We have the Bunny Part at Maple Valley, Fallen Knight, May Show, Mob Big Apple, I think. A whole bunch of Kickstarters coming next week, so keep your eyes peeled. There's going to be a whole bunch where we're hitting that January, February, New Year spike, and it's just going to continue going. That's basically everything, and until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co., and I hope you have a good one.